Hello, my friends. I want to hit a fuzzy dice. I need some fuzzy dice in my life. Help. Send help. Send dice. I'm just getting back from yoga, and I'm just waiting for my husband and my son and my dog to come back for a walk. We're gonna go out for coffee, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's like the simple things, you know? There's this thing about people say about millennials, and you've probably heard it. You know, all these millennials, they can't afford to buy a house because they're spending, too much money buying coffees. Maybe. But like, what a simple joy and like what a simple pleasure it is to consume a cup of coffee or have a cup of tea and to be at a location that has a community. It has a vibe, it has a story to tell. They brew specific things, they do it in their own way, and they provide the space for people to come have conversation and have this like basic need met. And it's not like the caffeine, but literally just like conversation and a beverage. Like, it's just such an enjoyable experience to have with someone in a group setting. I have this idea, and it's typical, but it's this idea of like a coffee club. And now there is this coffee club that has come up in the city, and they are doing amazing. They're on their like 4th event right now, and what they're doing is they're bringing DJs in, and they're doing like a coffee rave. So instead of alcohol, even though there is alcohol, which actually I've been told by somebody that I randomly met, she was like, this actually, why I haven't gone is because there's alcohol there as well. So they're like mixing, and they could consider not mixing, because if you just want to go for like the coffee and music and community vibe, the alcohol can shift that. Not good nor bad, just is. So they've had these 3 events, and it's like they've been completely sold out within like a day and a half. And then now they're moving it to this convention center, not a convention center. I get really weird about talking about the places that I live, just because there's also this idea about the internet, and people finding you, and that potentially being like a really uncomfortable thing. So people like protect themselves, obviously makes sense, but so I get a little weary. But anyways, this place, there's like 1,000 people coming to this event, and my assumption is there's actually no alcohol, and it is just going to be coffee and a DJ and a rave, essentially. But like, so cool. But that's not my idea. My idea is to have a shop. Circling back, my idea is to have an actual shop, and you can either bring your favorite mug, or you can like, the cafe provides these really cool mugs, and like I think that would be fun to like thrift or get gifted. But the idea is to have a mug club. So I got this idea from, there's the wine bar that used to be, I don't think they're still operating, which is really sad. I worked for them for like 2 weeks. Another story. I like quit on them. It didn't feel right, but I did it in a really bad way. And you know those moments that like hit you in the face of like, oh, you made a mistake, but like you had the right intentions, but like you didn't think of these variables. That was the situation. So remind me to talk about that again. So Mug Club is, you have like a cubby, and so when you come in, you get your mug and your beverage, and you pay like probably like a monthly fee. And like, coffee is expensive, but like there's got to be a way to have some sort of like monthly membership or something where you come in, and you could come every day, and you come in and you get your mug and you get a cup of coffee, and you paid once, and you know that there's always like, do you know how many times I go out I don't bring my phone, I don't bring my wallet, and I walk by like 3 coffee shops, and I'm always like, oh, like it'd be nice to just like get a beverage for my walk, but I don't have money. And it's also between like, can't find much for under $4 these days. $4, between $4 and like $8 to $9 for a beverage per use, and like that is a lot. But it would be so nice to have some sort of like monthly membership where I can go into a cafe anytime. I don't need my wallet because they've already taken my they already have my information. They know me. I get my mug from a cubby, and it's called like Mug Club. And I just think that would be really cool. So yeah, that's one of my ideas. Putting it out in the world in hopes that somebody, okay, I'm gonna put this out in the world because I want to see it happen. And if anyone knows of it, let me know. Or if somebody has the capability to make this, like, let's partner on this. I want this to be a thing. So there is this one mug at my little cafe that I work at. And it's this big like white ceramic mug, and there's this yellow smiley face. And it's a great mug. I always give people that mug and they love it. We have like a million different types of mugs. And that's where like the idea of having everyone having their own mug, because everyone that works there has their own mug, and like it goes on a special shelf. And so that would be the idea, but with customers, so that they would always get, you know, their mug. I just think it'd be fun. But anyways, so this smiley face mug, I have this idea that, you know how there's the temperature control like technology, and like the Bud Light can turns blue? Like, can we do that for this coffee mug? So when you pour the coffee in, it like smiles, but then as the temperature goes down, because the coffee's going down, it like goes into a sad face. So like as a server, when you're walking by, you're like, oh, sad face. You pour coffee in and it makes it a happy face. I just think that would be fun. So yeah, I tell this to so many people. I haven't done it in a while actually, but I used to tell everyone that I gave that mug to. I'd be like, this is my idea. And I've been waiting for someone to be like, I can make that happen for you. One day it'll happen. Did I circle back to everything? Sometimes when I go off on these tangents, I never know if I actually circle back to the original thing, or if I just like talk about all of these different areas and aspects of my life. What did I say I was going to come back to? I said there was another story. Oh, the wine bar. Okay, let's dive into it. Okay, so how old was I? Was this with Josh? I would have been like, I don't know. I want to say I was like 24. Was it before that? No, maybe it was like 22. I don't know. Anyways, it was like a solid decade ago. And so, there was an opening at the wine bar, and the wine bar, fun fact, the first one is in Wortley Village, and it's in the exact same house that my mom, my gran and granddad, they ran a restaurant when I was under 10. Like under 10. I was young. So my gran and granddad, they had a bed and breakfast in Scotland for like, I probably have the numbers wrong, but I want to say like 20 years. Maybe it was like 13 years. But they had a bed and breakfast in Scotland. And so I didn't know them very well growing up because they were living in Scotland. They would come down to visit, but like we didn't really have much of a relationship because they didn't live in the country. So eventually they sold the B&B and they moved to Canada to stay. They did go back, you know, life path and all that. But, oh, I see my friends. So they came to Canada, and then they opened up a restaurant in this house. Let's see if they notice me. They opened up a restaurant in this house in Wortley Village, and it was called the Village Country Kitchen. And, you know, they did coffee, they did like homemade soups and meatloaf and quiches and chicken pot pie, and they had baked goods and all of these really great things. So they had a cafe, and I remember being a kid, and I would have like camp at the library in the summer, but like during my breaks I would go over and like get in a Nanaimo bar, and I'd go back and I'd be like, and it was just so cool to have this like family business in. And I was too young to like really be a part of it, but I definitely have some memories of like being in the kitchen and watching them like prepare and do their thing and just like be in that environment. And so I've literally always been in hospitality or in restaurants in some form or another. Like, it's just been a part of my family's legacy. My dad also had he lost his job, and then he bought a fish and chip shop, and he, you know, tried to run that for a couple of years. And yeah, so they have this house, they have this restaurant, and the wine, and then they shut it down. Like, rent in Worley Village is like bananas. It's like it's the overhyped, I mean, but it's beautiful. Like, I love it there. It's like what a small town main strip would look like. It has everything. Like, it has a main grocery store, but it has, you know, natural food. It has gift shops. It has tons of there's hair, there's clothing, there's a dog shop. Like, there's an art gallery. Like, there's so many cool things. Coffee shops. Like, there's so many cool things. There's schools, there's trees, there's parks. Like, it's a great neighborhood. I love it. I grew up very close to it, so it's wonderful. But the rent there is like bananas. So they shut down, and then that house, I'm telling you, has been like a new business every couple of years. Like, things don't seem to last there. But at one point it was the wine bar, and I saw that they were hiring, and I applied, and I basically was like, my family had a restaurant here. Like, this feels so cool to be back here. I want to be a part of this. And so I got hired there. And it just like didn't feel right. So I think that was at the point where I was uncomfortable about being in service. I think I feel like I don't know. I can't remember if I was like leaving corporate or if I was thinking about going into corporate, because there's a whole other existential thing about being a lifelong server, being in this industry for as long as I have. It's a whole existential thing. So I don't remember like what exactly was happening, but I was doing the job, and I was like, this just like, it's not feeling right. Like, it's just not feeling right. So then on my second last training shift, I said to myself, I had like psyched myself up. I'm like, I'm just going to say that I can't do it. Like, I'm just going to say this isn't right for me. And I'm gonna basically, before the end of my training. So, and this was the thought process, was they didn't finish my training. They're not wasting their time and energy on me, and they can just put somebody in my place and run the restaurant with them. So I was like, I'm doing them a favor. So I got in, and I was like, listen, this just like isn't feeling right. Like, I just don't think I can work here. And they were like, well, like, we put you on the schedule. Like, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna fill those shifts? And I was like, oh, I'm like, I'm still in training. I'm like, what do you mean? But then I realized that they had like obviously planned plan things around me being there, and I like messed that up for them, and like that would be challenging. And I felt like such an asshole, and I had left, and I got in the car, and I was like, oh my God, like I didn't even think about that. Like, I didn't think about giving my 2 weeks because I was still in training. Like, I just assumed that I was doing them a favor, but like I didn't. And hi. And yeah. Hi. You can come. Yeah, I'll finish this off. Hi, boys.
Hi, video.
Hi, video. Jacob, can you say hi? I hate when parents do that to their kids, but I've done that. Hi. I've never liked that. Can you say hi? Can you do that? Anyways, we're gonna go for coffee. Enjoy your day, friends.